Welcome. Tonight, we are going to drift gently into the past, to a quiet corner of the world where the Nile flows endlessly through golden sands and green fields. We will follow the lives of ordinary Egyptians, people whose days were shaped by the river, the sun, and the soft rhythms of the earth. Our journey tonight is slow and unhurried, a gentle passage into a world where time moves quietly, and every gesture, every sound, is a part of the calm flow of life. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, and what time it is for you right now. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from all around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that gentle background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The mud brick houses along the riverbank. On the banks of the Nile, small clusters of mud brick houses rise quietly, their soft ochre walls warmed by the sun. These homes are simple, yet full of character. Flat roofs provide space for drying grains, sitting in the afternoon, or watching the river drift slowly past. The walls are slightly rough, each brick carefully sun-baked and laid with patience, a testament to the steady rhythm of village life. Inside, the rooms are modest and calming. Low benches line the walls, covered with woven mats or soft cushions. Clay jars hold water, grains, or herbs, neatly arranged, their surfaces smooth and slightly cool to the touch. Tiny windows, often just slits in the walls, allow light to filter in, creating soft, rectangular beams that move lazily across the earthen floors as the day passes. Families spend their mornings on the rooftops, enjoying the gentle breeze and watching the soft shimmer of sunlight on the Nile. Children play quietly with clay toys or chase small insects, their movements light and unhurried. Even the household animals, small dogs and cat, move carefully, curling up in corners or stretching lazily in the sun. By evening, the house folds in on itself, a gentle cocoon of warmth and calm, ready for the slow approach of night. The gentle rhythm of the fields. Beyond the houses, the fields stretch quietly into the distance, organized in soft, neat rows of green and gold. Farmers move among the crops with careful, deliberate gestures. Wooden plows, drawn by oxen, carve lines in the earth, the rhythm of hooves and scraping with a steady, almost musical cadence. Hands smooth the soil and check the growth of wheat and barley, slow, patient movements that honor the cycle of the seasons. Children often follow their parents, carrying small baskets or tending the irrigation channels. Water flows through narrow ditches in quiet, deliberate streams, nourishing the fields without hurry. Ducks paddle gently along the edges, their reflections mirrored in the calm water, while birds rise with soft flaps into the sky, a fleeting interruption to the slow, measured rhythm of the land. Even the sun seems to take its time, rising steadily and casting warm light that brushes over the fields in long, gentle strokes. Every action is part of a quiet dance with the river and the earth, a calm, enduring relationship that shapes life in this peaceful corner of the world. The river as a companion. The Nile is more than a river. It is a companion, moving steadily through the lives of those who live along its banks. Small boats drift lazily across the water, carrying baskets of fruit, clay pots, or bundles of reeds. The paddles dip quietly, leaving soft ripples that fade almost immediately into the calm surface. Fishermen sit patiently on rafts, their hands steady as they wait for fish, their voices soft murmurs that blend with the river's gentle hum. The river's flow is slow and deliberate, a constant presence that marks the passage of time. At sunrise, it reflects the soft pastel colors of the sky. During the day, it glistens, under the sun, moving steadily but never rushing. And at night, it mirrors the pale moonlight, a silver thread winding through the quiet village. Its gentle movement seems to remind all who live nearby to slow down, to breathe, and to move with the same unhurried patience. Evening by the riverbank. As the sun begins to sink toward the horizon, families gather along the riverbank. The air is warm, carrying the scent of fish, ripening grains, and sweet dates. Children sit close to parents or grandparents, tracing soft patterns in the sand with small fingers. Conversations are murmured and gentle about simple things or the quiet happenings of the day. Lanterns are lit along the shore, their soft glow reflected on the water in tiny flickering patterns. Fireflies drift slowly above the reeds, adding small, gentle points of light to the evening. Stories are told in low voices, sometimes about ancestors or about the cycles of planting and harvest, sometimes simply about what was seen along the river that day. All of it is slow and calm, a quiet bridge between the day and the approaching night. The river hums softly in the background, a lullaby that accompanies the soft rhythms of life. The children yawn and settle down, the animals curl up in corners, and the village becomes a quiet, gentle haven. The steady flow of the Nile carries the day away, leaving only the soft promise of tomorrow and a gentle invitation to rest, the simple rhythms of daily chores. Morning light spills softly across the courtyards of the mud brick houses, and with it, the gentle movements of daily chores begin. Women rise slowly, stretching their arms and smoothing the wrinkles from their linen garments. They move carefully through the rooms, carrying clay jars filled with water from the river, their feet padding quietly on the earthen floor. Each gesture is calm and deliberate, part of a rhythm that has persisted for generations. Laundry is washed in shallow basins, the water rippling softly. With each movement, fabric is kneaded and folded in slow, patient motions, the gentle splash of water blending with the distant murmur of the river. Sometimes, the wind lifts a cloth and carries it across the courtyard, fluttering like a soft bird before settling back into place. Children help by holding small bundles or fetching more water, their movements quiet but purposeful, learning the rhythm of responsibility and care. Cooking is another gentle ritual. Grains are ground slowly using stone mills, the small scraping sounds barely audible above the soft hum of the village. Bread dough rises in clay bowls, covered with linen to keep warmth and moisture inside. Fish from the river is cleaned with careful hands and roasted over a modest flame, its aroma mingling with the scent of herbs and dates. Every action is performed with patience, a quiet meditation in motion. The men often attend to heavier tasks, yet even these have a calm rhythm. Fields are tended methodically, plows guided steadily through the soil. Irrigation channels are cleared with gentle sweeps of water or small adjustments of reeds and stones. Oxen move at a deliberate pace, each step a quiet punctuation in the day's work. Nothing is rushed. Every movement seems synchronized with the slow flow of the river and the soft warmth of the sun. Even small errands carry their own peaceful patterns. A trip to the local market involves walking along sun-warmed paths, greeting neighbors in soft tones, and selecting fruits or vegetables with careful, deliberate attention. The baskets are woven and sturdy, carrying their contents without urgency. Vendors arrange their goods slowly, adjusting small details so that sunlight falls just right on a bundle of fresh dates or a heap of shiny beans. The entire scene unfolds like a gentle dance, measured and serene, a quiet symphony of ordinary life. Children, too, have their chores woven into these routines. They gather firewood in small bundles, sweep the courtyards with simple brooms made from reeds, and tend small animals like goats or chickens. Their movements are light and unhurried, yet purposeful, an early lesson in harmony with the daily cycles of home and river. Even the soft sounds of their work, the clatter of clay pots, the gentle thud of a broom on the ground, the faint bleat of a goat, contribute to the calm symphony of life along the Nile. As the day unfolds, there are pauses for quiet reflection and rest. A woman may sit under the shade of a palm tree, letting the breeze brush against her face, watching the water shimmer in the sun. A man may lean against a wall after adjusting a canal, listening to the faint ripple of water moving through the reeds. These pauses are as important as the work itself, moments of gentle stillness woven seamlessly into the day's rhythm. Evening approaches gradually, and the chores slow as the sun dips lower. Water jars are returned to their places, tools are set aside, and animals are guided into their pens. The soft glow of lanterns begins to appear in the windows, casting warm rectangles of light on mud brick walls. The river itself mirrors the colors of the sky, orange and pink slowly fading to deep indigo, reminding everyone of the natural rhythm that governs their lives. By the time darkness fully settles, the village has moved from activity to quiet contemplation. The scent of cooking lingers faintly in the air, mingling with the soft, earthy aroma of the fields and the gentle fragrance of river reeds. Children yawn and curl up beside parents. Pets settle into corners, and the village seems to breathe in unison with the steady, calming presence of the Nile. Daily chores, though simple and routine, have carried the day gently toward rest, each small movement part of a slow, harmonious dance. Quiet crafts and artisan work along the Nile. In the small workshops and open courtyards of the village, artisans move with gentle purpose. Their hands are steady and practiced, each motion soft and deliberate, as if time itself has slowed to accommodate the rhythm of their work. The clay potter kneads damp clay with quiet patience, feeling its texture shift and yield beneath his fingers. The potter's wheel spins lazily, turning the clay into bowls, jars, and vessels that will carry food, water, and small treasures through daily life. Each shape is molded with care, a calm meditation in motion. Nearby, a weaver sits before a low loom, threading soft reeds and flax into mats, ropes, and simple fabrics. The shuttle moves back and forth in a steady, hypnotic rhythm, producing patterns that are gentle on the eyes. Sunlight filters through the open workshop, falling across the woven threads in shifting stripes of gold and green. Every movement seems deliberate, slow, a quiet dialogue between hands, materials, and the soft hum of village life. Blacksmiths work in shaded courtyards, the subtle ringing of small hammers meeting metal punctuating the otherwise gentle soundscape. They shape tools, nails, and simple implements with calm, measured movements. Sparks sometimes fly, but they are small and contained, little flashes of energy in an otherwise tranquil space. The rhythm of hammering is soothing, repetitive, like a soft drumbeat that keeps time with the gentle flow of the river nearby. Children often linger near these workshops, watching quietly, absorbing the slow, attentive movements of the artisans. Occasionally, they are allowed to help, smoothing clay, threading a single strand, or carrying small bundles of reeds. Their participation is gentle, guided with care, reinforcing the rhythm of learning through observation and calm repetition. Artisans' work is not hurried. Pottery must dry slowly in the sun before firing. Threads must be woven carefully, each knot precise. Metal must cool gradually. Every step is considered, respecting the natural flow of materials and the passage of time. There is a quiet satisfaction in these routines, a sense that each day's labor contributes to the ongoing harmony of the village. The aroma of clay, warm reeds, and faint smoke from small fires mingles with the soft, earthy scent of the river, creating a comforting olfactory backdrop. Villagers pass through the workshops with quiet greetings, sometimes pausing to admire a basket, a jar, or a woven mat. The exchange is polite, understated, and soothing, more about connection and shared appreciation than urgency or commerce. As the sun begins to lower in the sky, artisans pause to rest. Their hands, though skilled and precise, relax gently, and they take a few moments to sit in the shade, watching the river reflect the soft orange and pink hues of evening. Children return to their homes or wander slowly along the riverbank, the calm sounds of the workshops fading into the background, blending with the whisper of water and the rustle of reeds. Evening lanterns cast gentle light across courtyards and workshops. The day's work is complete, leaving a sense of quiet accomplishment. Clay pots cool, woven mats settle into stacks, and tools are arranged neatly for the next day. The artisans themselves retreat to their homes, moving through narrow pathways with soft, deliberate steps, as if their very movement has been tuned to the rhythm of the Nile and the village. The night brings silence, punctuated only by distant frogs, the soft murmur of the river, and the occasional flap of wings from birds settling in the reeds. The workshops, once alive with quiet motion, now rest under the gentle glow of the moon. Their walls hold echoes of careful hands, the slow spinning of the potter's wheel, and the repetitive shuttle of the loom. These echoes, gentle and soothing, mingle with the natural sounds of the Nile, carrying the calmness of the day into the night. Children's play and learning along the Nile. Morning light drifts softly across the village, and with it, the quiet stirrings of children begin. Their days are gentle journeys of discovery, woven seamlessly into the rhythms of family life and the river's steady presence. Children move carefully through the courtyards, barefoot on the warm earthen floors, carrying small baskets or helping with light chores, but their moments of play are soft, deliberate, and soothing. They often gather near the riverbank, where the water moves in smooth, reflective sheets. Some skip flat stones across the surface, watching the ripples spread lazily before fading into stillness. Others float tiny boats made of reeds or scraps of wood, letting them drift slowly downstream, observing how currents twist and turn. The children's laughter is soft, airy, almost like the whisper of the breeze through the papyrus reeds, blending gently with the hum of the river. Learning comes naturally in these moments of play. They count the stones or note the colors of shells along the bank. They imitate the adults' work in miniature ways, pretending to plow with sticks, braid reeds into tiny baskets, or stir imaginary meals in small clay pots. Every action is calm and deliberate, a gentle rehearsal of the life they are gradually growing into. Some children find quiet nooks beneath the shade of palm trees or the eaves of mud brick houses, where they sit with simple tools, clay, or small wooden toys. They shape little figurines, weave tiny mats, or trace lines in the sand, creating patterns that are soothing both to make and to observe. Even the smallest activities carry a rhythm, a quiet repetition that echoes the larger cycles of the village and the river. Education is soft and observational. Older siblings and parents guide gently, showing the children how to use a simple tool, carry water without spilling, or tend a small patch of vegetables. Instructions are given in calm tones, hands are steady, and children absorb the lessons patiently. Mistakes are met with quiet encouragement, and successes with gentle praise. The learning flows slowly, naturally, like the water in the canals, never rushed, always measured. Animals play a quiet part in childhood as well. Small goats and ducks follow the children along the riverbanks, their movements adding soft, unpredictable rhythms to the day. Cats curl lazily in the sun, stretching as the children wander by. Even the river itself becomes a companion, its gentle lap against the bank setting a calm pace for games, stories, and quiet moments of reflection. Afternoons are often spent in stillness. Children nap beneath trees or on woven mats, the soft breeze carrying the warm scent of earth, grass, and river water. Sometimes they lie awake, listening to distant voices, the gentle flap of bird wings, or the rustle of reeds in the wind. These moments of quiet observation are as important as play itself, teaching patience, attention, and a sense of belonging within the gentle world around them. As evening approaches, children gather near the adults again. They help set small fires for cooking, carry minor items, or simply sit and watch the river reflect the warm glow of sunset. Stories are told in soft voices, recounting the lives of ancestors, the gentle cycles of the Nile, or small adventures from the day. Children listen attentively, their eyelids growing heavy as the calm narratives unfold, learning to synchronize their inner rhythm with the slow, peaceful heartbeat of the village. Nightfall draws the day to a quiet close. Children curl up beside parents or siblings, the soft glow of lanterns casting gentle shadows across mud brick walls. The sounds of the river and the distant reeds become a lullaby, carrying them gradually towards sleep. Even in dreams, the rhythm of the Nile flows steadily, weaving calmness and continuity into the tapestry of their growing lives. Meals, cooking, and evening rituals along the Nile. As the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, the village settles into a soft, deliberate rhythm centered around food and the quiet comforts of home. Cooking is gentle and unhurried, each step part of a ritual that blends nourishment with calm reflection. Women move carefully through the courtyards, tending small clay ovens where bread is baked slowly, its crust turning a soft golden brown. The aroma of baking wheat drifts through the village, mingling with the warm scent of roasted fish and the sweet fragrance of ripening dates. Grains and legumes simmer quietly in clay pots, filling the air with a comforting, earthy smell. Lentils bubble gently, barley releases its soft, nutty aroma, and tiny sparks of flame dance under the vessels, casting a warm glow across the walls. The motions of stirring, pouring, and arranging ingredients are deliberate and measured, almost meditative, creating a calm atmosphere that seems to wrap the entire courtyard in warmth and tranquility. Families gather slowly around low benches or mats, sharing their evening meal with gentle conversation. Voices are soft, stories unfolding in low tones as hands pass small dishes filled with carefully prepared food. Children sit quietly, observing, learning, tasting, and participating in the calm ritual of dining. There is no hurry, no clamor. The meal is as much about connection and reflection as it is about sustenance. Even simple utensils and serving vessels add to the sense of peace. Clay bowls are smooth and warm. Wooden spoons move steadily through the food, and woven baskets hold soft bread or fresh herbs. The quiet clatter of dishes is subtle and rhythmic, almost like a gentle percussion accompanying the evening light. Sometimes, small pets linger nearby, a cat brushing softly against a leg or a dog lying quietly in a shaded corner, adding to the comforting domestic tableau. After the meal, evening rituals unfold with equal care. Dishes are washed in shallow basins, water moving in soft arcs over clay and wood. Surfaces are wiped clean, mats are rearranged, and the courtyard is prepared for rest. Lanterns are lit along walls and pathways, their golden glow reflecting in the calm waters of nearby channels, softening the edges of the day as night approaches. Families may also participate in quiet offerings or prayers, small gestures that connect them to the cycles of nature and the river that sustains them. Tiny clay figurines, grains, or flowers are placed at small shrines, motions slow and reverent, accompanied by gentle words or silent reflection. The rituals are soft and unobtrusive, blending seamlessly into the evening, harmonizing with the river's steady hum and the fading light of day. Children often linger a little while longer, listening to soft stories told by parents or elders. Tales of planting and harvest, of ancestors and river journeys, are shared in soothing tones, voices rising and falling like the gentle ebb of the Nile itself. Some children quietly drift to sleep on mats or cushions, lulled by the combination of warm food, soft light, and the timeless rhythm of daily life. The village itself seems to exhale as the day comes to a close. Fires burn low, animals settle in corners, and the river reflects the pale moonlight, flowing quietly past fields and homes. The smells of the evening, bread, herbs, river reeds, linger gently in the air, mixing with the faint scent of cooling earth. Every movement, every breath, is measured and calm, carrying the entire village into the gentle embrace of night. Even as the village sleeps, small rituals continue. Water jars are arranged for the morning, tools are set aside carefully, and faint sounds of distant frogs and insects fill the air, creating a soothing nocturnal symphony. The Nile continues its steady flow, a constant companion that mirrors the quiet, enduring rhythm of human life along its banks. Seasonal changes and the flow of the Nile. The Nile is more than just a river. It is the quiet heartbeat of the land, marking the gentle passage of time with its slow, steady rhythms. Each season brings subtle changes, soft transformations that guide the lives of the villagers in ways both visible and unseen. Life along its banks moves in harmony with these cycles, and the people have learned to observe, anticipate, and adapt, all with calm patience. When the waters begin their gentle rise in late summer, the fields closest to the river become lush with soft green shoots, nourished by the slow arrival of silt and moisture. Farmers move quietly along the canals, adjusting small dams and guiding water with delicate care, ensuring that each patch of land receives just enough to awaken the soil. Ducks and herons glide gracefully across the newly filled channels, their reflections mirrored perfectly in the calm, expanding surface. The planting season follows, and the villagers' actions are measured and deliberate. Seeds are scattered slowly, hands pressing each one lightly into the soft, damp earth. Children may help, carrying small baskets of seed and learning the quiet art of timing and rhythm. Each motion is performed with mindfulness, almost as if the earth itself is a gentle teacher, requiring patience and care rather than force or haste. As the weeks pass, the sun warms the fields steadily, coaxing the crops upward. The gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze is accompanied by the soft, distant hum of village life. Men and women check on their plots, smoothing the soil, clearing small weeds, or guiding water through narrow ditches. Even the smallest tasks are infused with calm attention, and the pace of life mirrors the unhurried flow of the river itself. Harvest time arrives quietly, with golden fields bending under the weight of ripening grain. The villagers move slowly among the stalks, cutting, gathering, and bundling with care. Oxen pull small carts laden with wheat and barley, each step soft on the earth, each movement deliberate. Children help by carrying bundles or collecting stray stalks, learning the rhythms of the land and the quiet satisfaction of labor completed in harmony with nature. When the river recedes, exposing the dark, nutrient-rich soil, the villagers pause and observe, noting the subtle shifts in water levels, soil moisture, and the health of the crops. These are soft lessons, absorbed over years of watching the rivers flow, teaching patience, observation, and gentle responsiveness. Every rise and fall, every ripple and reflection, becomes part of a quiet dialogue between the villagers and the Nile. The cool months bring a change in light and air. Mornings are pale and soft, with fog hovering over the river in gentle layers. The sun rises slowly, spreading warmth gradually across the fields. Villagers dress in light linen, their movements still deliberate, as they tend smaller winter crops, repair homes, or weave mats and baskets for the coming months. Even the river reflects this calm transformation, its surface smooth and silver in the morning mist, flowing steadily without hurry. Throughout the year, festivals and small celebrations align with these gentle cycles. The villagers mark planting, growth, and harvest with quiet gatherings, songs, and small offerings at shrines. These moments are soft and reverent, a reflection of their awareness that life's rhythm is slow, continuous, and deeply intertwined with the river's flow. Lanterns are lit, soft music drifts through the reeds, and families share simple meals, each action measured and deliberate, a quiet homage to the passing of time. Night falls slowly, and the river continues its steady journey. Water laps gently against the banks, reflecting the pale moonlight and the occasional flicker of lanterns. The fields, now resting, seem to breathe along with the village, the earth exhaling after a day of patient care. The villagers settle, under soft mats and cushions, lulled by the quiet, unchanging flow of the Nile and the subtle, comforting patterns of the seasons. Even in sleep, the river's rhythm carries on, a constant, reassuring presence. It teaches the heart to move slowly, the mind to observe patiently, and the spirit to rest with trust in the continuity of life. The seasons, rising and falling, planting and harvesting, are gentle reminders that life along the Nile is a slow, deliberate, and soothing dance, in which every gesture, every step, and every breath is aligned with the timeless flow of the river. Quiet religious practices and daily offerings. As the seasons move gently along the Nile, so too do the quiet spiritual habits of the people who live beside it. Religion is not loud or dramatic in daily village life. Instead, it exists as a soft undercurrent, woven gently into ordinary routines, as natural as breathing or listening to the river flow past the reeds. In many homes, a small shrine rests in a shaded corner. It might be nothing more than a low shelf of mud brick or wood, holding a few simple objects, a small clay figurine, a shallow bowl for grain, perhaps a flower placed there in the morning light. These shrines are not grand, but they are deeply personal. Each one reflects the quiet hopes and gratitude of the family who tends it. In the early morning, before the day fully begins, a household member may pause briefly at the shrine. The gesture is slow and unhurried. A pinch of grain is placed carefully into the bowl. A drop of water from the Nile is poured gently onto the earth below. Sometimes a few whispered words are spoken, barely louder than the rustle of palm leaves outside. Other times, the offering is made in silence, with a simple bow of the head. These moments are short, but they bring a sense of calm and grounding to the day. There is no urgency, no expectation of spectacle. The act itself is enough, a quiet acknowledgement of the forces that shape life, the river, the sun, the land, and the passage of time. Village shrines also exist, small and modest structures built near the riverbank or at the edge of the fields. People pass by them throughout the day, occasionally stopping to leave a flower, a piece of bread, or a smooth stone picked up along the water's edge. These offerings are placed gently, with care, and the giver often lingers for a moment afterward, gazing at the river or the sky, letting thoughts settle. Priests move through the village calmly, their presence unobtrusive. They wear simple garments and speak in low, steady voices. When they lead prayers or rituals, the gatherings are quiet and respectful. People stand or sit comfortably, listening without strain, letting the words wash over them like the slow movement of water through a canal. Children learn these practices not through instruction, but through observation. They watch adults place offerings, bow their heads, or pause briefly in reflection. Sometimes they imitate the gestures, carefully copying the movements with small hands, placing pebbles or flowers where they've seen others do the same. No one rushes them, and no one corrects them harshly. Learning unfolds gently, just like everything else along the Nile. Religious festivals, when they occur, are calm and orderly. There is music, but it is soft. There is movement, but it is graceful and measured. Lanterns glow rather than blaze, and voices rise only slightly above the evening hush. These gatherings feel less like events and more like extended moments of shared stillness, where the village breathes together and acknowledges its place within the wider rhythm of the world. As night deepens, many families return once more to their household shrines. Lamps flicker quietly, casting warm light against the mud brick walls. A final offering may be made, a few grains, a sip of water before sleep. These closing gestures mark the end of the day not with finality, but with reassurance, a sense that life continues smoothly and predictably, guided by forces that are steady and kind. Outside, the Nile reflects the stars, flowing endlessly through darkness and moonlight. Inside the homes, people settle onto woven mats, their minds eased by the familiarity of routine and belief. The quiet rituals of the day have done their work, smoothing the edges of thought, anchoring each person gently to the land, the river, and the calm continuity of life along the Nile. Animals, pets, and the gentle presence of wildlife along the Nile. Life along the Nile is never lived alone. Animals move quietly through the days and nights of the village, sharing space, shade, and rhythm with the people who live beside the river. Their presence is calm and familiar, woven naturally into everyday life, neither startling nor demanding attention. In the early morning, small goats wander slowly between houses, their hooves tapping softly against packed earth. They pause often, nibbling at bits of greenery or resting in the shade of walls still cool from the night. Chickens scratch gently in courtyards, their movements unhurried, occasionally lifting their heads as if listening to the distant murmur of the river. Cats are everywhere, though they move as if they belong to no one and everyone at once. They stretch lazily in sunlit patches, curl beside warm hearths, or sit quietly on rooftops, gazing out over the fields and water. At night, they patrol softly, their paws silent, their presence reassuring rather than disruptive. Children often pause to stroke a cat's warm fur, smiling quietly before returning to their tasks or play. Dogs linger near doorways and pathways, watchful but relaxed. They follow familiar routes through the village, settling near families they recognize, lying down with a sigh as if the day itself has grown heavy. Their companionship is steady and wordless, a quiet comfort during long afternoons and peaceful evenings. Beyond the village, the river brings its own gentle company. Ducks drift across the water in loose formations, leaving soft ripples that widen and fade. Fishermen watch patiently as fish break the surface now and then, creating small rings that shimmer briefly before disappearing. Frogs rest among the reeds, their low calls rising softly after sunset, blending into the nighttime soundscape. Birds are constant companions as well. Herons stand motionless at the water's edge, as if carved from stone, waiting without impatience. Ibises move slowly through shallow pools, their reflections wavering gently beneath them. At dawn and dusk, flocks pass overhead, wings beating softly against the sky, marking the passage of time more gently than any spoken word. Livestock are tended with care and familiarity. Oxen move calmly through the fields, guided by steady hands and quiet voices. They respond not to force, but to routine, stepping forward when it is time, stopping when asked, breathing slowly as they work. At the end of the day, they are led back to shaded pens, where water and rest await them. Children grow up surrounded by these animals, learning their behaviors and rhythms intuitively. They know which ducks are curious, which dogs prefer shade, which cats will tolerate being picked up, and which will slip away silently. These lessons are learned without instruction, simply by living alongside creatures who follow the same slow cycles of sun and river. At night, wildlife becomes part of the village's lullaby. Insects hum softly in the reeds. Frogs call in gentle patterns. Occasionally, a bird stirs or a dog shifts in its sleep. None of these sounds interrupt rest. Instead, they layer together, forming a soft blanket of noise that makes silence feel less empty and sleep easier to find. The people of the Nile do not seek to control the animals around them. They coexist quietly, allowing space, observing, adapting. This shared calm creates a sense of balance, a feeling that life flows naturally when every being is allowed to move at its own gentle pace. As lamps dim and homes settle into stillness, animals curl into their resting places, just as people do. The river continues its steady movement, carrying reflections of stars and moonlight. Together, humans, animals, water, and land, everything rests within the same slow, enduring rhythm, breathing in unison beside the Nile. Clothing, textiles, and the feel of daily comfort. Clothing along the Nile is chosen not for display or excess, but for comfort, breathability, and ease of movement. The garments worn by ordinary Egyptians feel light and simple, shaped by the warm sun, the cooling breeze from the river, and the steady pace of daily life. Linen, spun from flax grown in nearby fields, is the most common fabric, soft against the skin and gentle in the heat. In the early morning, people dress slowly, smoothing their garments with calm, familiar motions. Tunics slip easily over the shoulders, loose and unrestrictive. The fabric hangs naturally, moving softly with each step. Children often wear very little, their skin warmed by the sun, their movements free and unburdened. As they grow older, they begin to wear small linen garments, learning how to tie them properly, how to keep them clean, and how to fold them carefully at night. Textile work begins long before the clothing is worn. Flax fibers are soaked, dried, combed, and spun with patient hands. Women sit together in shaded spaces, twisting fibers into thread, their fingers moving in slow, repetitive patterns. The sound is subtle, a faint whisper of fiber against fiber, accompanied by quiet conversation or comfortable silence. These moments are calm and social, time unfolding gently as thread forms between steady hands. Weaving takes place on simple looms, often set up in courtyards or near open doorways where light can fall easily across the threads. The loom stands quietly, its wooden frame warm from the sun. As the shuttle passes back and forth, fabric grows gradually, line by line, a physical record of time passing slowly and peacefully. Patterns are simple, meant to soothe the eye rather than command attention. Clothing is washed regularly in river water, rinsed carefully, and laid out to dry on rooftops or low walls. The breeze lifts the damp fabric gently, carrying the clean, fresh scent of water and sun. By the time the garments are folded and put away, they feel soft, warm, and familiar, ready to be worn again without thought or effort. Adornment is minimal but meaningful. Some people wear simple beads made of clay, stone, or shell. Others tie small amulets around their necks, not as decoration, but as quiet symbols of protection or remembrance. These items are touched absent-mindedly throughout the day, grounding the wearer in habit and comfort. As evening approaches, clothing becomes looser still. People sit on mats, legs folded easily beneath them, linen resting lightly against skin cooled by the coming night. Children lean against parents, their garments rumpled and warm from the day's activities. There is no discomfort, no stiffness, only ease, familiarity, and rest. At night, garments are folded carefully and placed nearby. Some people sleep wrapped lightly in linen, others beneath woven coverings. The fabric breathes with them, rising and falling softly with each slow breath. Outside, the river reflects moonlight, Inside, the quiet comfort of simple clothing helps the body relax, signaling that the day has ended and rest has arrived gently, just as it always does along the Nile. Travel, boats, and slow journeys along the Nile. Movement along the Nile is never hurried. Travel here unfolds at the same unhurried pace as the river itself, carried by water, wind, and patience. For ordinary Egyptians, journeys are gentle extensions of daily life, moments of quiet observation rather than events filled with urgency or strain. Small boats rest along the riverbank, their wooden hulls worn smooth by years of contact with water and sun. Some are tied loosely to reeds or wooden posts, rocking almost imperceptibly as the current passes beneath them. Others are pulled slightly onto the shore, waiting calmly for their next journey. These boats are familiar companions, used for fishing, visiting nearby villages, or carrying goods slowly from one place to another. When a journey begins, it does so quietly. A basket is placed carefully into the boat. A bundle of reeds, a jar of grain, or a woven mat is set down with intention. The traveler steps aboard without rush, settling into a comfortable position as the boat eases away from the bank. Oars dip into the water with soft, steady movements, sending gentle ripples outward that fade almost immediately. Sails, when raised, catch the breeze without snapping or strain. The fabric billows slowly, guiding the boat forward as if by suggestion rather than force. The wind along the Nile is kind and predictable, moving with a softness that complements the steady flow of the river. Travelers sit quietly, watching the landscape drift past. Fields of green, clusters of palm trees, distant villages softened by haze. The river itself becomes a pathway of calm reflection. Birds skim the surface ahead of the boat. Fish occasionally break the water, leaving brief circles that widen and disappear. The sound of water against the hull is steady and rhythmic, a sound that invites stillness and wandering thoughts. Conversations, if they occur, are low and sparse, often giving way to silence. Travel between villages feels less like leaving one place and more like gently sliding into another. As a boat approaches a settlement, the riverbank reveals familiar shapes: mud brick houses, small docks, people moving slowly along the shore. The boat is guided in with care, touching land as softly as it left it. Greetings are exchanged calmly, without raised voices or hurried gestures. Some journeys take place on foot, along narrow paths that follow the curve of the river. These walks are slow and meditative. Travelers pause often, adjusting their load, greeting others, or simply standing still to watch the water move through reeds. The earth beneath their feet is warm and firm, shaped by countless steps over generations. Even longer journeys feel gentle. Travelers plan them around rest, shade, and the natural rhythm of the day. They stop when the sun is high, drink water, and resume when the light softens. There is no pressure to arrive quickly. The journey itself holds value, offering time to observe, breathe, and feel connected to the land. As evening falls, boats are secured for the night. Travelers sit quietly by the water, watching lanterns appear one by one along the banks. The river reflects their glow, stretching the light into long, shimmering lines. Eventually, rest comes, either in a familiar home or beneath open sky, accompanied by the steady presence of flowing water. Travel along the Nile teaches patience and trust. It reminds those who journey that movement does not require haste, that distance can be crossed gently, and that arrival is simply another quiet moment within the endless rhythm of life. The river carries everyone forward at its own pace, asking only that they follow calmly, without resistance, as it always has: nightfall, sleep, and the quiet hours beside the river. As the day slowly releases its hold, night arrives gently along the Nile. There is no sharp division between light and darkness, only a gradual softening. The sky deepens from pale blue to dusky violet, and the last warmth of the sun lingers on the mud brick walls before fading into coolness. The village responds instinctively, easing itself into rest. Lanterns are lit one by one, their flames small and steady. Each lamp casts a warm, amber circle that barely pushes back the darkness, just enough to guide familiar steps and soften the edges of the night. Shadows stretch lazily across courtyards and walls, moving slowly as the flames flicker. There is comfort in this light, a sense of enclosure and calm. Families settle into their homes with quiet familiarity. Mats are unrolled, woven blankets folded carefully and laid out. The air inside the houses holds the gentle scent of baked bread, river, water, and warm earth. Children yawn without trying to hide it, their bodies already surrendering to sleep. Adults move slowly, speaking in hushed tones, their movements careful not to disturb the growing stillness. Outside, the river continues its steady journey. Moonlight spills across its surface, turning it into a ribbon of soft silver. The water moves without sound, carrying reflections of stars and palm fronds. Frogs begin their low, rhythmic calls from the reeds, joined by the faint hum of insects. These sounds do not interrupt rest, they cradle it, forming a natural lullaby that has played for generations. Some people sit quietly for a few moments before sleeping, gazing at the river or the sky. Thoughts drift gently, unanchored, like boats loosened from their moorings. There is no need to plan or worry. The coming day will follow familiar patterns, guided by the same river, the same sun, the same quiet routines. Inside the homes, breathing slows. Bodies settle into comfortable positions, supported by mats softened by years of use. Linen brushes lightly against skin, cool and reassuring. Children curl toward parents or siblings, drawn by warmth and familiarity. Even animals find their places, dogs stretching once before settling, cats curling into tight, contented shapes. Sleep arrives gradually, not as an ending, but as a continuation. The mind loosens its grip on the day, releasing small concerns and half-formed thoughts. Dreams emerge softly, shaped by the sounds of water, wind, and night. The river flows through these dreams as it does through waking life, steady, present, unchanging. Hours pass quietly. The village rests as a single, breathing whole. The Nile moves on, as it always has, carrying with it the calm assurance that life continues smoothly, moment by moment, season by season. In this gentle darkness, beneath stars and moonlight, sleep deepens, wrapped in the enduring rhythm of the river and the peaceful world that has grown beside it. Food storage, granaries, and the calm assurance of plenty. Beyond the evening meals and daily cooking, there is a quiet reassurance that rests at the heart of life along the Nile. The presence of stored food, carefully kept and calmly managed. Granaries stand slightly apart from homes, sturdy and simple, their walls thick and cool, designed to protect grain from heat and dampness. They are not imposing structures, but they carry a quiet sense of security. Inside, sacks of wheat and barley are stacked neatly, arranged with care rather than urgency. The grain smells warm and earthy, a scent that speaks of sunlight, soil, and patient work in the fields. People move slowly through these spaces, checking stores, adjusting coverings, ensuring everything rests as it should. There is no panic here, only attentiveness shaped by long familiarity. Children sometimes accompany adults to the granaries, their footsteps soft against the packed earth. They learn early how to scoop grain carefully, how to close containers properly, how to respect the balance between use and preservation. These lessons are never rushed. They are absorbed through repetition and calm observation, just like everything else along the river. The presence of stored grain allows the village to rest more easily at night, knowing that food is available, that tomorrow's meals are quietly waiting, softens the mind. Worry loosens its grip. Sleep comes more easily when hunger is not a question, but a solved problem resting quietly behind thick mud brick walls. Music, sound, and the gentle texture of the day. Sound along the Nile is never overwhelming. Flutes made from reeds produce low, breathy notes that drift easily through open courtyards. Simple drums are tapped with restraint, their rhythms slow and steady, echoing the pace of walking feet or rowing oars. Clapping is measured, palms meeting softly, never sharp or sudden. Music often accompanies work rather than interrupting it. A weaver hums while guiding thread through a loom. A fisherman sings quietly while mending nets. These sounds are personal, unperformed, offered without expectation of attention. They soothe the person creating them as much as anyone listening. At night, music fades naturally into the broader soundscape. Frogs, insects, and water take over, continuing the gentle rhythm without pause. The village does not fall silent. It simply changes instruments. Health, rest, and gentle care of the body. Care for the body is simple and attentive. When someone feels unwell, they are not isolated or rushed. They rest. They are given water, shade, quiet company. Herbs are brewed slowly, their steam rising gently into the air. Hands move calmly across foreheads and shoulders, offering comfort without alarm. Rest is respected here. People understand that strength returns on its own schedule. Children nap freely. Adults pause when needed. The rhythm of life allows space for recovery without guilt or pressure. Bathing in the river is another quiet ritual. People wade in slowly, feeling the water cool their skin, washing away dust and heat. Movements are careful, unhurried. Afterwards, linen dries in the sun, and bodies feel light and renewed. Aging, elders, and the quiet passing of wisdom. Older members of the village move more slowly, and the village moves with them. Their presence is steady and grounding. They sit in shaded places, watching the river, watching children play, watching life unfold without needing to intervene. Wisdom is shared casually, through stories, gestures, small corrections offered kindly. There is no urgency to teach everything at once. Knowledge passes naturally, carried forward by habit and example. At night, elders rest comfortably, surrounded by familiar sounds. Their sleep is deep and earned, shaped by years of living in rhythm with the river. The Nile as memory and continuity. Through every topic, every routine, every quiet moment, the Nile remains. It remembers what people forget. It carries reflections of yesterday and tomorrow in the same smooth surface. It flows without concern for human hurry. Life along its banks does not seek to conquer time. It moves within it. And as night deepens once more, as lanterns dim and breathing slows, the river continues its endless journey, holding the village gently in its flow, carrying everyone, awake or asleep, forward together. Trade, small exchanges, and the quiet movement of goods. As the river continues its steady passage, so too does the quiet exchange of goods that sustains life along its banks. Trade here is calm and personal, shaped by familiarity rather than urgency. There are no loud calls or hurried negotiations, only slow conversations and gentle agreements that unfold naturally, like the current itself. In the early hours, small boats arrive from nearby villages, gliding toward the shore with baskets of goods resting securely inside them. Dates, dried fish, woven mats, clay vessels, bundles of flax. Each item carries the quiet imprint of careful hands and unhurried labor. The boats are tied loosely, allowed to rock softly while their owners step onto the warm earth. People gather without crowding. They move slowly between baskets, lifting lids, touching textures, breathing in scents. A handful of grain is exchanged for a bundle of reeds. A clay jar is traded for dried herbs. The transactions are simple and respectful, shaped by long-standing relationships rather than competition. There is time to talk, time to pause, time to sit in the shade and watch the river while waiting. Children observe these exchanges closely. They sit nearby, tracing patterns in the dirt or leaning against baskets, absorbing the rhythm of commerce without pressure. They learn that value is not only in objects, but in trust, patience, and consistency. No one rushes them to understand. The lessons settle quietly, like silt carried downstream. Even the market spaces themselves feel gentle. They are not fixed locations, but moments that form and dissolve naturally. A shaded area near the river, a wide courtyard, a stretch of open ground becomes a place of exchange for a few hours, then returns to stillness. When the last basket is lifted and the last boat pushes away, the space breathes out again, empty and calm. As afternoon approaches, traders begin their slow departures. Boats drift back into the current, sails catching the breeze just enough to guide them home. Those who remain on shore return to their routines, carrying goods carefully, as if aware that each item has traveled a long, patient path to reach them. The river accepts it all, the arrivals, the departures, the quiet flow of exchange, without comment. It carries goods and people alike, smoothing the edges of effort, reminding everyone that movement does not need force to be effective. Memory, storytelling, and the soft thread of the past. As daylight softens and shadows lengthen, stories begin to surface gently in the village. They are not announced or performed. They arise naturally, often while sitting together in the evening, hands busy with small tasks, eyes resting on the river or the sky. Elders speak slowly, their voices calm and even. They tell of years when the flood came early or late, of seasons when the grain grew tall, of journeys taken long ago along the river's winding path. These stories are not dramatic. They are quiet recollections, shaped by time, smoothed by repetition. Children listen without interruption, leaning close, letting the words wash over them. They may not remember every detail, but the rhythm of storytelling settles deep within them. It teaches patience, attention, and a sense of continuity, an understanding that their lives are part of something much larger and older. Sometimes stories are shared in fragments. A sentence here, a memory there. They are not required to be complete. Like the river, they continue across many evenings, many voices, many years. Each retelling adds a layer, not of urgency, but of familiarity. The past feels close in these moments, not distant. It sits comfortably beside the present, woven into daily life like the fabric of a well-used garment. The river has seen it all before, and its presence reassures the listener that nothing truly disappears. It only changes shape, weather, wind, and the feel of the air. The air along the Nile carries its own quiet language. People read it instinctively, noticing subtle shifts in temperature, movement, and scent. A gentle breeze moves through palm leaves, bringing relief in the heat of the day. At night, cooler air settles over the water, inviting rest. Clouds drift slowly overhead, rarely dramatic, often thin and pale. When rain comes, it is light and brief, touching the earth softly before passing on. The smell of damp soil lingers, mingling with the scent of river reeds and growing plants. Wind fills sails, cools skin, and carries distant sounds. Oars dipping, birds calling, voices from across the water. It never demands attention. It simply participates, another element moving in harmony with the land and the people. Time, patience, and the unspoken understanding. Time along the Nile is not counted in hours. It is felt through light, hunger, rest, and the river's movement. Days unfold gently, without sharp divisions. Work begins when the body is ready. Rest comes when the light softens. Sleep arrives without resistance. People do not rush toward the future or cling tightly to the past. They exist comfortably within the present moment, trusting that tomorrow will resemble today in its essential rhythms. This trust allows the mind to remain calm, the body to remain relaxed, and life to move forward without strain. As night deepens once more, the village settles again into stillness. Lanterns dim, conversations fade. The river flows on, unchanged, carrying reflections of stars and palm fronds alike. Everything rests within its steady presence, trade and memory, wind and weather, work and rest, held gently in the endless, unhurried rhythm of life along the Nile. Crafts, tools, and the quiet satisfaction of making. As another day unfolds beside the river, hands find their way back to familiar tools. Craftwork along the Nile is never rushed. It is shaped by repetition, patience, and a deep understanding of materials that comes only from long use. Tools are simple, worn smooth by time, fitting comfortably into palms that know them well. Potters sit near shaded spaces where the earth stays cool. Clay rests in soft piles, dark and damp, waiting to be shaped. Fingers press gently into it, coaxing bowls and jars into being with slow, steady movements. The wheel turns quietly, almost silently, guided by foot and instinct. There is no hurry to finish. Each vessel takes the time it needs. Nearby, carpenters work with wood gathered from along the riverbanks or brought slowly from farther away. Their tools make soft, rhythmic sounds, scraping, tapping, smoothing. Planks are shaped carefully, joined with attention rather than force. Small boats, stools, doors, and boxes emerge gradually, each object sturdy and unassuming, made to last rather than impress. Stone workers sit patiently beside blocks of limestone or sandstone. Chips fall away slowly as shapes are refined. The sound is gentle and measured, never sharp enough to disturb the surrounding calm. These craftsmen often work in silence. broken only by the occasional pause to stretch, drink water, or simply sit and observe the river's movement. Textile workers continue their steady rhythm at looms. Threads slide into place one by one, building fabric almost imperceptibly. The repetition is soothing, both for the maker and for anyone nearby. Time seems to soften here, stretched out and forgiving, allowing the mind to wander gently while the hands remain busy. Finished items are not celebrated loudly. They are examined quietly, turned over once or twice, then set aside for use or trade. There is satisfaction, but it is calm and internal. The object has joined the flow of life, ready to serve its purpose without fanfare. Children, play, and the gentle learning of the world. Children move through the village like small currents of energy, but even their play carries a softness shaped by their surroundings. They run along river paths, but they stop often, distracted by insects, stones, or reflections in the water. Their laughter rises and falls quickly, never lingering too long, blending easily back into the ambient sounds of daily life. They fashion toys from what they find: bits of wood, woven reeds, smooth pebbles. A stick becomes a boat, guided through shallow water. A piece of string turns into a simple game passed between friends. These games require imagination more than effort, and they unfold slowly, changing shape as attention shifts. Older children help with small tasks, learning through participation rather than instruction. They carry light baskets, watch younger siblings, fetch water, or hold tools for a moment while an adult adjusts their grip. These contributions are gentle, never burdensome, offered as part of belonging rather than obligation. When children tire, they rest easily. They sit in the shade, lean against walls, or sprawl on mats without self-consciousness. Sleep can take them at any hour, claimed quietly by warm air and steady sounds. No one wakes them unless necessary. Rest is allowed to arrive when it wishes. Through play and pause, observation and imitation, children absorb the rhythms of life along the Nile. They learn patience without being taught it. They learn balance simply by watching how everything around them moves. Paths, footsteps, and the familiar shape of the village. The village itself is shaped by walking. Narrow paths wind between homes, fields, and the riverbank, worn smooth by generations of footsteps. These paths curve naturally, following the land rather than cutting through it. Walking here feels instinctive, guided by memory rather than direction. People greet one another softly as they pass. A nod, a quiet word, a brief pause to exchange news. No one feels compelled to stop unless they wish to. The path allows both connection and solitude, depending on the moment. Walls radiate stored warmth in the late afternoon, releasing it slowly as evening approaches. The ground beneath bare feet feels familiar, textured by earth and stone. Each step reinforces a sense of place, a knowledge that these routes have been walked many times before and will be walked many times again. At night, paths fade gently into shadow, but they remain navigable to those who know them well. Lantern light pools briefly on the ground, then moves on. The village does not disappear in darkness, it simply rests within it. Water, wells, and the gentle act of gathering. Although the river is always near, wells also play their quiet role in daily life. They are simple structures, lined with stone or clay, cool and dependable. People approach them slowly, lowering jars with care, listening for the soft sound of water below. Drawing water is a rhythmic act. The rope slides through hands, the jar fills, the weight shifts gently as it is lifted. These movements are familiar and comforting, repeated countless times without boredom or strain. Water is carried back home carefully, balanced and steady. Spills are accepted without frustration. There is always more water, always another moment to try again. This abundance softens the mind, teaching patience through reliability, evening gatherings, and the ease of togetherness. As daylight fades once more, people drift toward shared spaces. They sit together without agenda, sometimes speaking, sometimes simply existing side by side. Someone repairs a basket. Another smooths fabric. Children lean against adults, listening to fragments of conversation that float past without demand. Food may be shared, but slowly. Pieces are broken off, passed along, eaten without hurry. The act of eating becomes another form of rest, a way of grounding the body as the day releases its hold. The sky darkens gradually. Stars appear one by one, reflected faintly in the river's surface. The village breathes together, settling into night with practiced ease. The endless return. And so life continues, not in circles, but in gentle spirals. Each day resembles the last, yet carries small variations. Changes in light, wind, conversation, memory. Nothing is forced. Nothing is wasted. The Nile remains, flowing steadily through all of it, holding the village in its patient embrace. As sleep arrives once more, it does so quietly, carried on the same rhythms that guide waking life. Breath slows, muscles soften, thoughts loosen and drift. The river flows on, seasons of work and the long memory of the land. As sleep drifts gently through the village, the land itself seems to remember its own cycles. Fields rest in darkness, but beneath the surface, the memory of seasons lingers. The people who live along the Nile do not measure the year in sharp divisions. Instead, they feel it through changes in color, texture, and temperature, through the subtle shifts that guide work and rest. When the waters of the Nile rise, they do so patiently. There is no sudden rush, only a gradual spreading across the fields. Silt settles softly onto the earth, dark and fertile, renewing the soil without effort. People watch from the edges, calm and observant, knowing that this flood is not destruction, but preparation. During these times, work changes its shape. Fields rest beneath water, and people turn their attention inward, to repairs, crafts, and quiet maintenance. Homes are mended, tools are checked, nets are repaired thread by thread. These tasks are done without urgency, carried by the understanding that the land itself is resting and renewing. When the waters retreat, they leave behind earth ready to receive seed. Planting begins slowly. Hands press grain into damp soil, covering it gently. There is trust here, not expectation. Growth will come in its own time, guided by sun and water rather than human insistence. As crops mature, fields shift from soft green to warm gold. Harvest approaches without announcement. People move through the fields calmly, cutting and gathering with steady hands. The work is rhythmic and meditative, broken by pauses to drink water, adjust bundles, or simply stand still and feel the breeze. No one works until exhaustion. Rest is built into the process, as natural as the work itself. Shade is sought when the sun climbs high. Conversation drifts lightly across the fields, then fades back into silence. Home repairs and the care of familiar spaces. Between seasons of planting and harvest, attention turns to the home. Mud brick walls are smoothed and reinforced where needed. Roofs are checked for cracks, reed coverings adjusted carefully. These repairs are quiet acts of care rather than urgent responses. People sit together while working, passing tools slowly, offering assistance without instruction. Children observe, learning the feel of materials, the patience required to shape and maintain a living space. The home is not a static structure, but something alive, tended gradually over time. Inside, objects are rearranged gently. A mat is moved closer to the wall. A jar finds a new resting place. These small changes refresh the space without disrupting its familiarity. Comfort is preserved, not replaced. Cooking utensils and the soft rituals of preparation. Cooking tools rest quietly when not in use. Bowls stacked neatly, grinding stones placed near walls, spoons laid carefully beside jars. Each item has its place, shaped by habit rather than design. When meals are prepared, movements are slow and practiced. Grain is ground steadily, the stone turning with a low, comforting sound. Dough is kneaded gently, pressed and folded without force. Fires are fed carefully, flames kept low and steady. There is no sharp noise, no frantic motion. Cooking becomes another form of meditation, a way to settle the body and mind while nourishing both. The scent of food drifts softly through doorways, signaling comfort rather than hunger. Festivals without hurry. At certain points in the year, festivals arrive quietly, blending into daily life rather than interrupting it. These gatherings mark changes in season or honor shared beliefs, but they are gentle and measured. People dress in clean linen, perhaps adding a bead or ribbon for the occasion. Food is prepared in slightly larger portions, shared among neighbors. Music appears briefly, soft drums, low flutes, then fades again. There is laughter, but it is unforced. Movement, but not frenzy. Children weave through groups. Elders sit comfortably, observing with calm satisfaction. The festival feels less like an event and more like a collective pause, a moment of shared acknowledgement. Sleep as a continuation. As night returns once more, sleep does not feel like an ending. It feels like the land resting, the people resting, the river continuing on their behalf. Bodies sink into familiar positions. Breath deepens. The Nile moves quietly through darkness, carrying reflections of stars and memory alike. Life along its banks continues in its gentle, enduring way, unrushed, unbroken, held softly within the steady flow of time. Light, shadow, and the way the day slowly unfolds. Morning does not arrive suddenly along the Nile. It seeps in gradually, carried on cool air and pale light. Shadows loosen their hold on walls and paths, stretching thinner as the sky brightens. The river reflects this change first, its surface shifting from deep gray to soft silver, then to a gentle blue that mirrors the waking world. Birds begin to move quietly among the reeds. Their calls are not sharp or urgent, but low and measured, as if testing the air before fully greeting the day. In the village, people stir slowly. A door opens partway. A mat is folded with care. Bare feet touch the ground, sensing its temperature before committing to movement. Light finds its way into courtyards and narrow rooms, slipping through doorways and small windows. It settles gently on jars, baskets, and sleeping forms, encouraging wakefulness without demand. No one rises abruptly. The day is allowed to begin at its own pace. As the sun climbs, it creates patterns across the village. Palm fronds cast shifting shadows on walls. Light glances off water jars, softening their edges. These patterns move slowly, marking time more gently than any spoken signal. Morning tasks and the comfort of familiar motion. Once awake, people turn to small morning tasks that require little thought. Water is fetched. Fires are coaxed back to life. Leftover embers glow briefly before being fed fresh fuel. The motions are practiced and calming, each one guiding the body fully into the day. Bread dough prepared the night before is checked, shaped, and placed near warmth. Grain is ground steadily, the stone's low sound echoing softly in the still air. Children watch or help briefly, then wander off, drawn by their own quiet curiosities. There is no rush to complete these tasks. Breakfast waits patiently. Hunger is acknowledged but not urgent. The body trusts that nourishment will come, just as it always has. Learning without pressure. Learning along the Nile is woven seamlessly into daily life. There are no sharp divisions between instruction and experience. Knowledge is passed through observation, repetition, and gentle correction. A child watches an adult tie a knot, noticing how fingers move, how tension is adjusted. Later, the child tries, slowly and imperfectly, without fear of failure. Mistakes are allowed to exist quietly, corrected only when necessary, and always without embarrassment. Counting is learned by sorting grain. Measuring is learned by filling jars. Time is learned by watching shadows move and listening to hunger rise and fade. These lessons are absorbed naturally, settling deep into memory without effort. The river as companion. Throughout the day, the Nile remains close, always present at the edge of vision or thought. People glance toward it often, not out of concern, but out of familiarity. Its surface changes constantly, yet always remains itself. Some sit near its edge during breaks, feet close to the water, letting cool air rise around them. Others cross it slowly in small boats, trusting its steady flow. Even those working far from its banks feel its influence, carried in the moisture of the air and the fertility of the soil beneath their feet. The river does not demand attention, but it offers reassurance simply by being there. Midday rest and the art of pausing. When the sun reaches its highest point, activity slows naturally. Heat encourages stillness. People retreat into shade, into homes or beneath trees, letting the body rest. This pause is not seen as lost time. It is an essential part of the day's rhythm. Conversation softens. Movement becomes minimal. Some people sleep lightly, drifting in and out of rest, while others simply sit, thoughts loose and unanchored. The world itself seems to pause. Birds quiet. The river glides on with even less disturbance. Time stretches gently, forgiving and unmeasured. Afternoon return. As the sun begins its gradual descent, energy returns without effort. People rise slowly, stretching, drinking water, re-entering the flow of the day. Work resumes where it left off, not restarted, but continued. There is satisfaction in this return. The body feels refreshed, the mind clear. Tasks that remain are approached calmly, without resistance. The day softens once more. Light grows warmer. Shadows lengthen. The village prepares unconsciously for evening. There is no announcement, no signal, only a collective sensing that the day is easing toward rest. The Nile reflects the changing sky, carrying the day away downstream. And once again, life along its banks moves gently toward night, guided by patterns older than memory, steady and kind. The river flows on, evening chores and the soft closing of the day. As the sun dips lower, people move through their evening chores with deliberate care. Tasks are gentle, unhurried, designed to prepare both home and body for rest. Water jars are refilled, swept paths are straightened, and small fires are rekindled to provide warmth for cooking. Each motion is intentional, measured, a quiet continuation of the day rather than a sudden effort to finish. Cooking resumes with calm familiarity. Bread is baked in clay ovens, fish roasted over gentle flames. The scents drift slowly through doorways and courtyards, mingling with the warm, earthy aroma of soil cooled by evening shadows. No one hurries. Each dish is tended with care, stirred or turned softly, allowing flavors to develop naturally. Children help quietly where they can, carrying small bundles of firewood or assisting in arranging dishes. Their movements are careful, encouraged but never forced. Some pause to watch a bird move across the river, a cat curl into the sun's last warmth, or the reflection of reeds swaying slowly in the water. These moments are absorbed naturally, teaching awareness and patience without instruction. Evening meals and shared stillness. As the meal is served, the family gathers calmly. Food is passed gently, portions shared with quiet attention rather than conversation. Words are soft, voices low, as if loudness would disturb the settling rhythm of the day. Children eat with hands that are learning the patterns of calm participation, learning that eating can be both necessary and meditative. The act of eating extends slowly. Bread is broken, grains counted, fish handled gently. Each bite is appreciated without rush, and the act itself becomes a practice of mindfulness. Conversation floats lightly over the meal, fragmented and slow, leaving room for observation and reflection. Once the meal ends, dishes are washed carefully in basins of river water. Each vessel is treated with respect, scrubbed gently, then set to dry in the cooling evening air. The sounds of water moving against clay and would create a quiet, rhythmic background, complementing the soft hum of insects and the gentle lap of the Nile against the bank. Evening stories and quiet remembrance. After chores, families settle for stories or gentle conversation. Elders speak slowly, their voices low, recounting memories of past seasons, subtle lessons learned from the land and river, small anecdotes that carry meaning without drama. Children listen attentively, often lying close to parents or siblings, absorbing the cadence and content without pressure. Stories are not complete narratives that must be finished in one sitting. They unfold gradually, sometimes resuming days later, sometimes drifting off as sleep takes hold. The rhythm of storytelling mirrors the rhythm of life itself, unhurried, continuous, soothing. The approach of night. As darkness deepens, lanterns are lit one by one. The village is bathed in soft amber pools of light, gentle and unintrusive. Shadows stretch and shift with each flicker of flame. Outside, the river reflects the muted glow, its surface rippling slowly with the evening breeze. Animals settle into quiet corners. Cats curl into warm spaces near fires. Dogs lay beside thresholds, and livestock find shaded pens. Even wildlife along the riverbank moves with subdued grace, aware of the soft descent of night. Rest and the final hours. People move toward their sleeping spaces gradually. Mats are unrolled, blankets spread, linen smoothed over tired bodies. Limbs loosen, muscles relax, and breathing slows. Children drift into sleep quickly, comforted by warmth, routine, and the gentle presence of caretakers. Adults follow, each finding their place in the quieted household. The river continues its steady flow, unchanged, reflecting stars overhead. Crickets and frogs add soft, rhythmic background tones, blending seamlessly with the occasional rustle of leaves or distant footsteps returning from the fields. Sleep is not forced. It arrives naturally, encouraged by calm movement, gentle light, soothing sounds, and the familiar, enduring patterns of life along the Nile. Each breath, each heartbeat, is aligned with the river's flow, creating a sense of continuity, safety, and peace. The village rests as one, cradled in the slow, patient rhythm of the river and the land, carried forward into night, while the Nile moves steadily onward, constant and enduring, a quiet companion to all who live beside it. Changing seasons and the gentle flow of time. Life along the Nile is shaped not by clocks or calendars, but by the soft, unhurried rhythm of the seasons. Each change is subtle, measured in light, temperature, water levels, and the slow transformation of the land. Villagers sense these shifts with quiet attentiveness, adjusting their work, rest, and movement in harmony with the natural world. Spring arrives with muted light and warmth. Crops begin to grow steadily, coaxed from the fertile soil left by the river's retreat. Small shoots appear, bending gently in the breeze. Farmers walk slowly through fields, guiding irrigation channels and clearing minor weeds. These tasks are unhurried, performed with calm precision, honoring the natural pace of growth. Summer brings heat and long days. Activity slows during the brightest hours, and people take refuge in shade or near the river, letting cool breezes brush over their skin. Work is resumed gently in the early morning and late afternoon, the day flowing without haste. Children play in shallow water, their movements soft, splashing only occasionally, laughter blending seamlessly with birdsong and the river's steady murmur. Autumn softens the light and cools the air. Harvest approaches slowly. Fields glow gold as grains ripen. People move deliberately through the crops, cutting and bundling, taking breaks in shaded spots, adjusting bundles and baskets with careful hands. The river carries reflections of the harvest sky, silver and gold ripples mirroring the calm rhythm of labor. Winter brings cooler mornings and a stillness that encourages inward reflection. Smaller crops grow in fields, tending their quiet, patient lives. Villagers repair homes, mend tools, weave textiles, and craft objects slowly, appreciating the time to focus on details often set aside during busier months. The air feels softer, carrying faint scents of damp earth, drying reeds, and the occasional distant smoke from cooking fires. Festival days in gentle harmony. Among these seasonal rhythms, festival days emerge softly, marked not by noise or spectacle, but by shared acknowledgement and quiet participation. Families prepare modest offerings, fresh linen, and small decorative touches in their homes. Food is arranged thoughtfully, sometimes in larger quantities, but shared without rush. Music is low and measured, soft flutes, gentle clapping, and the occasional drum played lightly. Movement is graceful, deliberate, never urgent. Children follow elders slowly, observing rituals and learning the quiet ways of celebration. No one competes for attention. Each act, each gesture, blends seamlessly into the calm of the day. The festivals mark time as much as they celebrate it. They are reminders of continuity, of relationships with the land, the river, and one another. By evening, lanterns glow along pathways, reflecting softly in the river. The village returns to rest without fanfare, carrying the gentle memory of shared moments into the night. The flow of daily life across generations. Generations live alongside one another with soft awareness of passing time. Elders sit in shade, watching, occasionally guiding, but mostly allowing life to continue at its natural pace. Children observe, imitate, and learn without pressure. Work and rest, laughter and quiet, flow seamlessly from one age group to another. Daily routines, fetching water, tending animals, preparing meals, weaving, and rowing boats, are repeated across years, subtly adjusted to match each person's strength and skill. Knowledge passes quietly, absorbed through observation and gentle instruction. No rush exists, no expectation of mastery overnight. Instead, skill and understanding unfold slowly, layered upon the steady rhythm of village life. Even in moments of transition, such as moving from childhood to youth or youth to adulthood, the river and land act as constant guides. They teach patience, resilience, and awareness, showing that life progresses gently, and there is time for each stage to unfold naturally. Night returns with calm assurance. As evening settles again, light softens and shadows stretch across walls and pathways. The river glows with silver reflections of stars and lanterns. Sounds of the day, children playing, birds calling, the occasional conversation, fade slowly into stillness. Animals find their resting spots. People settle onto mats and woven cushions, linen brushing softly against skin. The river continues its steady flow, a constant presence through every season, every festival, every day and night. Sleep arrives naturally, guided by quiet routines, soothing sounds, and the reassuring rhythm of life along its banks. Breathing slows, muscles release tension, and thoughts drift gently like leaves carried by the water. The village rests together, wrapped in the enduring embrace of the Nile. Life moves forward softly, unhurried, and each day folds seamlessly into the next, just as it has for generations past and will for generations to come. The slow passage of time through years and generations. Time along the Nile does not rush. It moves gently, like the river itself, carrying moments, memories, and generations forward without urgency. Life unfolds in cycles, and each cycle is observed, absorbed, and respected by all who live along its banks. People do not measure life in years alone, but in the patterns of work, rest, and the gentle changes in the land and river. Children grow slowly, learning from those around them. They observe quietly as elders work, as women weave and men tend the fields, as everyone moves in harmony with the sun, the water, and the wind. They imitate the gestures, copy the sounds, and eventually take their own place in the ongoing rhythm of life. There is no rush to grow up. Each stage is valued and unfolded at its natural pace. Adulthood brings responsibility, but it is approached with the same calm. Daily tasks, tending animals, managing fields, crafting objects, trading goods, are undertaken steadily. Mistakes are corrected gently. Achievements are acknowledged quietly, and each person learns that life progresses through steady effort rather than dramatic accomplishment. Elders carry the soft authority of experience. Their knowledge is not imposed but offered as guidance when needed. Stories, practical lessons, and advice flow naturally from them, often shared while performing tasks or during moments of quiet observation. Children and adults alike absorb this wisdom over time, integrating it gently into their understanding of the world. Life is marked by small transitions rather than sudden changes. A child becomes a helper becomes a worker becomes a caretaker, and a caretaker eventually rests. These shifts are acknowledged softly, often with subtle rituals or personal gestures, never with dramatic fanfare. The continuity of life is more important than any single milestone, and this understanding is woven into every moment. The enduring landscape and its gentle influence. The land itself participates in this calm passage of time. Fields, reeds, riverbanks, and palm groves change slowly with the seasons and the years. Crops grow, rivers swell and recede, and the sun shifts across the sky with predictable constancy. Villagers move through this landscape with awareness and reverence, allowing its rhythm to shape their own. Houses weather seasons gradually, showing small signs of age. Walls may crack slightly, roofs may need patching, but these changes are addressed slowly, with care. People learn from the land's resilience, absorbing lessons in patience, observation, and adaptability. The river never hurries, and neither do its people. Life flows naturally, with each generation carrying forward the habits, skills, and calm awareness of the previous one. The landscape is a teacher, a companion, and a constant reminder that time is to be respected, not rushed. The quiet of night across generations. Night falls predictably, and with it comes rest. Children sleep close to parents, blankets wrapped around small bodies, while elders find comfort in familiar mats or cushions. Animals settle in their places, and the river glows faintly under moonlight. The village breathes together. Soft sounds, distant frogs, rustling reeds, the gentle ripple of water fill the space between breaths. Sleep arrives not abruptly, but gradually, carrying each person into the calm continuity of life. The lessons, memories, and rhythms of generations past drift gently through dreams, ensuring that the steady passage of life continues uninterrupted. Each night is both an ending and a continuation. As people rest, the river flows on, fields lie dormant, and homes settle into quiet. All is held together by the same gentle rhythm that has carried the Nile and its people for centuries. The peaceful passage of daily rituals and personal moments. Along the Nile, much of life is made up of small rituals that pass almost unnoticed, yet they carry a quiet significance. These are the gestures and routines that shape the rhythm of each day, softening time and creating a sense of continuity for those who follow them. Morning begins with simple movements: washing hands in cool river water, adjusting a mat, arranging a small bundle of clothing or tools. Each action is performed deliberately, not out of urgency, but from habit and care. People move through these tasks slowly, taking pleasure in their familiarity, in the gentle reassurance that comes from attending to one's own space and body. Midday meals are similarly calm. Bread is torn and shared. Fish is eaten with measured attention. Herbs are sprinkled into bowls with quiet intent. Eating becomes a form of meditation, a way to connect with sustenance, with those around you, and with the land that provided the ingredients. Conversations drift gently between bites, soft voices rising and falling like the slow ripple of water. Tea, brewed from local herbs or simply warm water, is taken at quiet intervals. The steam curls upward, carrying subtle scents into the air, and the act of holding a warm cup, feeling it steady in one's hands, becomes a grounding ritual. These small moments are repeated daily, quietly shaping the body's awareness of time, pace, and rest. Evening rituals are equally gentle. Lamps are lit one by one, their flames casting soft circles of light. People smooth linen blankets, check that children are comfortable, and move slowly through each remaining task. A pot of water may be left near the door for washing, a basket of fresh bread placed within reach, a cat or dog settled near the hearth. Every action is intentional, performed with care and without haste. Personal moments: pausing to watch the river, tracing the patterns of clouds, listening to the faint calls of birds, are woven seamlessly into these routines. No one feels compelled to mark these pauses. They exist naturally, a part of the ongoing rhythm of life. In these quiet intervals, the mind softens, worries dissolve, and awareness becomes attuned to the steady flow of the surrounding world. The gentle work of craft and creation. Throughout the day, hands find their way back to work, not hurried or forced, but deliberate and mindful. Crafting, whether weaving, pottery, basket making, or simple woodworking, is approached with care and patience. The sounds of these activities are subtle: the scrape of a tool across wood, the soft passing of a shuttle through threads, the faint thump of a mallet shaping clay. Each action is purposeful yet slow, a dance of attention and repetition. Mistakes are accepted quietly, corrected without tension. Finished objects are appreciated softly. A clay pot admired for its smooth curve, a woven mat noted for its even threads, a small boat checked for balance before being set on the river. The work itself brings satisfaction, a quiet sense of accomplishment. Without fanfare or pressure, children learn these crafts by observation and gentle participation. Their small hands mimic elders, copying patterns of motion, feeling textures, learning rhythm. No one is forced to master the skill immediately. Understanding grows gradually, layered over months and years. By participating in these calm practices, they learn patience, attentiveness, and care, qualities that extend into every aspect of life. The soft presence of community. Even within private routines, the presence of community is felt. Villagers move quietly in shared spaces, offering smiles, small greetings, or assistance when needed. Paths intersect, hands brush against one another, and gestures of care pass from one person to the next without ceremony. Neighbors check that children are safe, that fires are tended, that water is available. These interactions are subtle, unhurried, and nurturing. There is no demand for attention, no need for explanation. Kindness exists quietly, woven into daily life. During moments of rest, people often pause near one another, watching the river together, noting small changes in weather, or simply enjoying the soft murmur of conversation. These shared experiences, gentle and continuous, reinforce a sense of connection and belonging, supporting calmness and ease in the heart. The evening and the return to stillness. As dusk deepens, the village slows almost imperceptibly. Lamps are lit, shadows lengthen, and the air cools. Conversations soften, animals settle, and the river carries reflections of the fading sky downstream. Children are guided gently toward beds and mats, their movements slow, unhurried. Adults follow, completing final chores with deliberate care, leaving only the essentials to be tended in the quiet of the night. The transition from day to night is seamless. There is no abrupt ending, only a gradual softening of activity. Breath slows, limbs relax, and the body begins to release tension accumulated over hours of calm movement. Outside, the river continues to flow steadily, a silent companion that mirrors the internal quiet developing within the village. As sleep arrives, it is gentle, unforced, and complete. Dreams drift in naturally, guided by the rhythms of water, wind, and daily life. The body and mind settle fully, synchronized with the enduring presence of the Nile, which flows on through night and day, through generations, carrying life, memory, and calm along its timeless course. Nighttime sounds, reflections, and the deepening sleep of the village. As darkness settles fully, the village along the Nile transforms into a world of soft, subtle sounds. The river flows steadily, its surface shimmering under the light of stars and the pale glow of the moon. Each ripple moves quietly, reflecting silver patterns that dance slowly across mud brick walls and reed-covered roofs. There is no hurry in the water, only a gentle, continuous flow that mirrors the calm rhythm of life itself. Frogs call intermittently from the riverbanks, low, rhythmic, and soothing. Insects add a delicate background hum, filling spaces between the gentle lap of water and the occasional rustle of palm leaves. These sounds are not distracting. They cradle the village, providing a steady, natural rhythm that encourages the mind to slow. People settle fully into their beds and mats. Linen blankets brush softly against skin, absorbing the warmth of the day and releasing it slowly throughout the night. Children lie curled against parents or siblings, breathing deeply and evenly. Adults follow the same slow rhythm, their bodies releasing tension accumulated over the day. Even the village animals, cats and dogs, settle quietly, completing the circle of rest. The night encourages reflection. Those still awake may watch the river, noticing the subtle movements of reeds, the glimmer of a distant lantern, or the reflection of stars in water pools. Thoughts drift slowly, without urgency. Memories of the day unfold gently. The soft rhythm of crafting, the measured pace of meals, the quiet exchanges with neighbors. These reflections pass through the mind like leaves carried downstream, leaving a sense of calm and continuity. Lanterns cast soft pools of amber light, fading gradually as oil diminishes and eyes grow heavy. Walls absorb the glow, leaving shadows that stretch lazily across floors. Breathing synchronizes with these rhythms. The rise and fall of chests becomes a gentle drumbeat against the night's quiet canvas. The river's flow becomes a subtle guide for sleep. Its ceaseless movement reminds villagers of the continuity of life, of the work, rest, and rhythms that have repeated for generations. Even in darkness, there is reassurance. The river moves, the land endures, and each person sleeps securely within the patterns that have shaped countless days before. Outside, the wind brushes softly through palm leaves, a gentle sigh that accompanies the deepening quiet. Occasional nocturnal birds call far away, their sounds distant and non-intrusive. Every element, water, wind, earth, and living creatures, participates in a symphony of calm. Sleep deepens gradually, not forced, but allowed to arrive naturally. Thoughts become softer, drifting like river leaves. Bodies surrender fully to rest, and the village rests as a whole, synchronized with the enduring flow of the Nile. Even in dreams, life continues its gentle, unbroken rhythm. carried forward by the river and the land it nourishes. As the hours pass, the night stretches endlessly, quiet and undisturbed. The village remains cradled in calm, each person wrapped in warmth, safety, and continuity. The world feels small, contained, and reassuring, a perfect companion for sleep. Dawn arrivals, the soft renewal of a new day, and the endless cycle of life. Before the sun rises fully, the world along the Nile stirs gently. Light creeps slowly across the horizon, softening from deep indigo to pale lavender, then to the delicate pink and gold of early morning. Shadows stretch long and thin, shifting imperceptibly as the first rays touch the river. The air is cool and still, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and reeds. Some villagers awaken quietly, eyes still heavy, bodies moving with the softest awareness of the day to come. Hands stretch and yawn, muscles flex slowly, and feet touch familiar paths with gentle precision. There is no rush. The day arrives in measured increments, and everyone moves in harmony with it. Small boats are prepared with care. Fishermen loosen ropes and push softly into the current, letting oars dip into water that glides under them like liquid glass. Nets are untangled with deliberate patience, laid out slowly to catch the morning's first fish. Each movement is mindful, every action measured against the gentle rhythm of the river. Along the banks, reeds shimmer in the growing light. Birds begin their morning songs, soft and tentative at first, then more confident as the air warms. Their calls float across the water and into homes, blending with the murmur of waking voices, the quiet shuffling of mats, and the subtle sounds of cooking fires being coaxed back to life. People attend to small tasks, sweeping courtyards, drawing water from wells, arranging baskets of grain, repairing tools, or simply pausing to watch the sun rise over distant fields. Each action flows naturally into the next, creating a continuous pattern of care and attention. Life is steady, neither hurried nor constrained, moving gently forward in the familiar rhythm of the river. Children emerge from mats and blankets, stretching arms and legs, greeting the day in quiet curiosity. They wander toward the river, dipping hands or toes into the cool current, letting the gentle waves brush against skin. They watch the movements of small boats and the slow rise of the sun, absorbing the continuity of life around them. Meals are prepared again, slowly and attentively. Bread is shaped, fish is cleaned, herbs are crushed, and grain is cooked over low flames. Smells drift through the village, mingling with the fresh scent of dawn, carrying reassurance that sustenance is always near and life continues in dependable patterns. The river itself is a constant companion. Its flow is calm but persistent, carrying reflections of the sky and the light back toward the village. Boats drift gently, reeds sway, and the water murmurs softly against the banks. This movement mirrors the village's own rhythm, unhurried, enduring, and reassuring. By mid-morning, the village is fully awake. Work resumes with a steady, unbroken pace. Craftspeople return to looms and clay, fields are tended slowly, and goods are prepared for quiet exchanges with neighbors. Every action is part of a larger, continuous cycle, each person moving in concert with the river and the land. The endless flow of days and the subtle continuity of life along the Nile. Days pass gently along the Nile, each one unfolding without abruptness, shaped by light, water, and the quiet routines of villagers. There is a sense of continuity that pervades every moment, a rhythm that repeats, yet never feels exactly the same. Each sunrise brings soft variation, a slightly warmer breeze, a faintly different shade of sunlight on mud brick walls, the subtle scent of newly tilled soil mingling with the river's cool breath. Work begins slowly as always. Farmers tend their crops in measured movements, hands brushing leaves, guiding young shoots, ensuring irrigation channels carry water evenly. Tools are handled deliberately, each motion precise, yet unhurried. Craftspersons return to their projects, shaping clay, weaving threads, or smoothing wood with steady hands. These actions are not rushed. They are extensions of life itself, flowing naturally from one task to the next. Small interactions occur seamlessly within these routines. A neighbor passes along a basket of herbs. A child brings water to an elder, A smile is exchanged across a courtyard. Words are soft, gestures deliberate, and the entire community moves in a shared rhythm that is both calming and sustaining. Meals punctuate the day without urgency. Bread is broken slowly, grains are eaten mindfully, and tea is sipped in quiet attention. Even the act of sharing sustenance is measured, a soft acknowledgement of connection and care. Conversation drifts lightly, rising and falling with no expectation or hurry. The river, constant and patient, reflects the flow of these days. Boats drift along its surface, carrying goods, people, and small conversations. Reeds sway gently at the edges, and birds skim low over the water. The river does not hurry, yet it moves steadily, carrying life forward, shaping the land, and providing a rhythm to which the village aligns naturally. Afternoons bring pauses. Work slows as the sun climbs high, inviting shade and rest. People sit under trees, on mats, or near doorways, drinking water or simply observing the subtle changes in light and movement. Children rest or play quietly, learning observation and patience. The world itself feels suspended in these moments, time softened, tension released. Evening arrives gradually. Shadows stretch long across courtyards, walls, and fields. Lamps are lit one by one, casting gentle pools of amber light that intermingle with the fading glow of the sun. Families gather, meals are shared, and stories are whispered softly. These stories are calm reflections of the day, of the past, and sometimes of dreams to come. They are not hurried, not dramatic, but gentle reminders of continuity and care. Night deepens, and sleep returns, carrying villagers once again into calm rest. Bodies relax fully, breath slows, and the river continues its steady, unbroken course. Every day, every night, life flows in this quiet, enduring pattern. The repetition is comforting. It is not monotonous, but meditative. Each day folds naturally into the next, shaped by light, water, and human presence in harmony. Generations rise and rest, children grow, adults work, elders watch, and the river carries them all forward. The unhurried passage of years, floods, and harvests. Life along the Nile is shaped not only by daily routines, but by the slow, predictable rhythm of years and seasons. The river rises and falls with quiet consistency, bringing nourishment and renewal, and the villagers learn to move in harmony with its unhurried patterns. When the floodwaters arrive, they do so gradually. The river swells, spreading softly across the fields, carrying silt and sediment that will enrich the soil. There is no sudden rush or destruction, only a gentle immersion of the land in fertile water. Farmers watch from the riverbanks, observing the slow changes, adjusting small dikes and channels, ensuring that water reaches where it is needed. The work is steady, deliberate, without urgency, aligned with the natural flow of the river. As the flood retreats, the land is left rich and ready. Farmers return slowly to their fields, preparing to sow seeds. Hands press grain into soft, damp earth, covering it carefully. Every movement is measured, intentional, as if aware of the centuries of practice that have preceded them. Growth is not hurried. The land requires patience, and the villagers have learned that time itself is a gentle teacher. Throughout the year, the cycles continue. Sprouting plants, growing crops, harvests, and preparation of the soil all follow this rhythm. Each task is performed with care, mindful of its place within the larger cycle. Children grow alongside these cycles, learning the lessons of patience, observation, and rhythm not through instruction, but through participation and quiet observation. Harvests arrive in measured succession. Crops are gathered slowly, bundles tied carefully, grain stored with attention. The act of harvesting is calm, deliberate, and unhurried. People pause frequently, resting in shaded spots, observing the subtle changes in wind, light, and river flow. There is satisfaction in the work, but it is quiet and internal, not loud or demonstrative. Evening meals during harvest carry a special calmness. Shared sustenance, gentle laughter, and soft conversation mark the completion of the day. Stories of past floods, planting seasons, and harvest drift into the conversation, sometimes woven into lessons or gentle reminders of continuity. Sleep follows naturally, deepened by the sense of accomplishment and the unbroken flow of time. Years pass in this way, each one layered atop the last. Children grow into adulthood, adults age gracefully, and elders pass on knowledge without haste. The land and river remain constant, guiding life in a steady, reassuring pattern. The unhurried passage of time teaches that life does not require force or urgency, only attention, care, and a willingness to move gently with the world. The quiet work of weaving, pottery, and small crafts. Amid the slow passage of seasons and years, the villagers devote time to crafts that sustain both daily life and a sense of continuity. These tasks are not hurried. They are performed with steady attention, gentle focus, and deep familiarity with materials. The rhythm of creation becomes a meditation, soothing for both hands and mind. In shaded courtyards or small rooms, women sit at simple looms, threads stretched carefully between wooden frames. Fingers move deliberately, weaving each strand over and under its neighbor, creating cloth that will clothe families, line baskets, or serve as coverings for simple furniture. The motion is repetitive yet comforting, a quiet dance that produces beauty without demand or fanfare. The soft tension of threads, the gentle click of the shuttle, and the slow shift of colors create a sensory pattern that soothes both the maker and any observer nearby. Nearby, potters shape clay with calm precision. Hands press, pinch, and smooth with patient care, coaxing vessels into form. The wheel turns steadily beneath skilled feet, guiding pots and bowls into gentle symmetry. The air carries the faint scent of wet earth, mingling with sun-warmed clay. Mistakes are not alarming, but corrected quietly, reshaped with care. Each finished pot, each vessel left to dry, carries the satisfaction of quiet achievement and the promise of practical use in everyday life. Woodworkers and carpenters practice the same slow artistry. Smooth boards are measured, cut, and joined with patient hands. Simple tools tap, scrape, and shape the material, producing small boats, stools, doors, and household implements. Each item is functional, durable, and unassuming, created with the understanding that it will serve daily life gently and consistently, not to impress. Even the smallest crafts, the braiding of ropes, the weaving of baskets, the carving of decorative motifs, are performed with careful attention. Children often watch quietly, sometimes participating with small, unhurried motions, learning the subtleties of hand-eye coordination, rhythm, and patience. There is no rush to master these skills. Knowledge grows slowly, nurtured over weeks, months, and years. The calm of craftwork extends beyond the individual. It shapes the atmosphere of homes and courtyards. The faint, rhythmic sounds of weaving, shaping clay, or tapping would blend with the murmur of the river and the soft calls of birds, creating a continuous, gentle soundtrack for daily life. These small acts of creation, repeated daily, sustain the village as surely as the river waters the fields. Evening brings completion to these tasks, but not abruptly. Projects are paused and continued another day, woven seamlessly into the ongoing flow of life. Tools are cleaned, threads are tidied, and vessels are arranged carefully to dry. The satisfaction of work is quiet and internal, leaving space for reflection and preparation. For rest, the slow passage of childhood, play, and learning along the Nile. Children grow in a world shaped by gentle rhythms and calm observation. Their days are filled with quiet discoveries, small tasks, and playful exploration, all unfolding in harmony with the slow flow of life along the river. Morning often begins with soft sunlight spilling into homes and courtyards. Children stretch, yawn, and rise slowly, touching the cool earth beneath their feet. Tiny hands reach for water, helping to draw a small jar from the well or dipping into the river to feel its cool surface. Every gesture is an exercise in awareness, teaching them balance, patience, and gentle attentiveness. Play is quiet but absorbing. Sticks become small boats, woven reeds are fashioned into dolls, and pebbles are gathered and sorted as if they were treasures. Children move slowly, exploring textures, sounds, and shapes, discovering the world with curiosity tempered by the unhurried rhythm of their surroundings. Laughter comes softly, blending with the sounds of water, wind, and birds. There is no hurry, no urgency. Play is a form of learning, absorbed gently into their growing sense of the world. Older children assist in daily tasks, learning by doing rather than by instruction. They carry water, help tend small gardens, or hold tools while adults work. Each contribution is small and deliberate, giving them a sense of purpose while remaining calming. Mistakes are quietly corrected, and successes are acknowledged softly, fostering confidence without stress or expectation. Education is woven into daily life. Counting is learned by distributing grain into baskets. Measurement comes from filling jars or comparing lengths of reeds. Observation teaches them the patterns of the river, the movement of the sun, and the subtle changes of the seasons. Children absorb these lessons naturally, without the pressure of formal instruction, as part of the quiet flow of life. As the day unfolds, children pause to notice the world around them. A bird dipping toward the river, the reflection of clouds on water, the sway of a palm in the breeze. Each observation is absorbed slowly, creating a sense of wonder and awareness. Their imagination drifts alongside their senses, nurtured by the steady rhythm of home, river, and community. Evening draws them back into quieter routines. They assist with small tasks, help prepare food, or simply sit near adults, listening to stories or observing the soft movements of daily life. Sleep arrives gently, often while the sounds of the river and the evening chorus of frogs and insects fill the air. The children's breathing slows, their bodies soften, and their minds drift naturally into the calm continuity of the village. Through play, learning, and quiet observation, children absorb the rhythm of life along the Nile. They grow into it, carrying forward the habits, patience, and attentiveness that define their community. Each day, each season, each year teaches them that life is best lived slowly, with care, presence, and gentle awareness of the world around them. The subtle beauty of daily river life, fishing, boating, and the flow of water. Along the Nile, the river is more than a source of water. It is a companion, a guide, and a steady presence that shapes daily life. Each morning, as light creeps slowly across the water, people move toward its banks with quiet purpose. Boats rest patiently at the shore, their wood warmed by the sun and softened by years of careful use. Fishermen prepare their nets and lines with deliberate attention. Knots are checked and retied slowly, weights arranged carefully, and baskets for holding the day's catch placed within easy reach. The river's surface is calm, reflecting the muted colors of dawn. Oars dip gently into the water, creating faint ripples that spread outward, altering reflections in the most subtle ways. Fishing itself is an exercise in patience. Nets are lowered with care, left for hours, then lifted slowly, water cascading softly as the catch is gathered. The act is meditative, a dialogue between human hands and the flow of the river. There is no hurry, only observation, attentiveness, and gentle timing. Even when the catch is small, there is satisfaction in the quiet work, in the knowledge that the river provides steadily over time. Boating along the Nile is equally calm. People glide across water in simple wooden vessels, feeling the slow current move beneath them. The oar dips in measured rhythm, each stroke deliberate and mindful. Birds follow along the riverbanks or rise into the sky as boats pass, their wings catching the light in fleeting flashes. The river reflects these movements, amplifying the beauty of small gestures and quiet motion. The river also serves as a place for contemplation. People sit near the edge during breaks, letting their hands trail in the cool water, watching small fish move around their fingers. Reflections of clouds and reeds shift slowly on the surface, encouraging observation and reflection. Even brief pauses are absorbed fully, moments of connection with the natural rhythm of life that soothe the mind and body. Children often accompany adults along the river, learning the subtleties of water and boat, noticing the patterns of birds, reeds, and currents. They imitate the gentle strokes of oars, help untangle small nets, or simply sit quietly, letting the river teach patience and attentiveness through observation and soft participation. Evening along the river is calm and luminous. The water glows faintly under the setting sun, and lanterns placed on boats cast delicate, wavering light across its surface. Sounds are subtle, the soft splash of an oar, the quiet murmur of water against hulls, the distant calls of nocturnal birds. These moments encourage reflection and calm, a preparation for rest that aligns naturally with the steady flow of life along the Nile. By night, the river rests in its own way. The surface darkens, shadows lengthen, and the gentle current carries the day's reflections downstream. Boats are moored carefully, nets stored, and fishermen retreat to homes, their bodies and minds soothed by the unbroken, gentle rhythm of water, wind, and light. Evening rituals, quiet meals, and the soothing approach of nightfall. As the sun sinks lower, the village along the Nile eases naturally into evening. Light softens, casting long, warm shadows that stretch across courtyards, reed walls, and mud brick paths. The air cools gradually, carrying the faint scent of river water, earth, and the smoke of small cooking fires. This is the time when the day transitions gently into rest, and each movement slows in harmony with the fading light. Families begin evening meals with deliberate calm. Bread is broken carefully, fish and vegetables are arranged thoughtfully, and water is poured into bowls with measured care. Conversation is soft, a gentle hum that accompanies eating rather than interrupting it. Children are attentive, learning the rhythm of shared meals, the quiet courtesy of passing bowls, and the simple pleasures of nourishment. After the meal, dishes are cleaned methodically. Water is drawn from the river or well, basins filled and emptied with steady hands. Pots and bowls are washed, scrubbed gently, and set to dry in warm evening air. The sounds are minimal but comforting. Water lapping quietly in containers, soft scraping of utensils, and the occasional murmur of conversation or laughter. These are small, meditative tasks that signal the day's end without rush or urgency. Lanterns are lit gradually, one by one, casting soft amber pools of light. Shadows stretch lazily along walls and courtyards, blending with the muted glow of the setting sun. Each household moves through its own rhythm. Children wash faces and hands. Elders check that mats and blankets are in place, and quiet preparations are made for sleep. The world is not hurried, only gently settled. Evening is also a time for reflection. Some pause near the river, letting their hands skim the cool surface, watching small fish move or reeds sway. Others sit in shaded corners, tracing patterns on walls or baskets, noticing the subtle changes in light and sound. These moments, though simple, carry the weight of attentiveness and continuity, grounding people in the present while connecting them to the flow of life that has always moved through these spaces. As darkness deepens, the village quiets further. Animals settle into their resting places, children are guided to mats or cushions, and adults finish final small tasks. Breath slows, muscles relax, and minds drift into calm. Outside, the river reflects the faint shimmer of stars and lanterns, its gentle flow providing a constant, reassuring rhythm. The night arrives gradually, unforced. Soft sounds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of nocturnal birds, the murmur of flowing water, fill the space between heartbeats. Villagers sink fully into rest, bodies softened by the day's labor and minds soothed by quiet routines. Sleep comes naturally, deep and uninterrupted, carried gently by the rhythm of the river and the unbroken continuity of life along its banks. Seasonal festivals, rituals, and the slow celebrations of life. Even amidst the unhurried flow of daily life along the Nile, certain days are set apart, marked by subtle celebrations that honor the rhythm of the seasons, the river, and the continuity of life. These festivals are never loud or frantic. They unfold with deliberate calm, woven gently into the fabric of the village's routine. Preparation begins quietly, often days in advance. Linen cloths are washed and spread carefully. Small decorations are arranged with attention to symmetry and beauty, and simple offerings, fresh fruits, grains, or herbs, are gathered. There is no sense of urgency. Each task is performed mindfully, creating a calm anticipation that grows gradually, like the slow rise of the river itself. On festival mornings, people dress in slightly brighter or freshly laundered linen, adding beads, ribbons, or small ornaments, all placed thoughtfully rather than hastily. Children follow the adults' example, mimicking their movements, learning the quiet gestures of participation. The village does not bustle. Instead, it breathes collectively, each household aware of the day's significance, yet moving in harmony with its natural pace. Meals during festivals are prepared with care. Dishes may be larger than usual or arranged more carefully, yet the act of eating remains calm. Food is shared slowly, passed deliberately from hand to hand, and conversation is soft and reflective. There is joy, but it is gentle and measured, never overwhelming. Laughter blends with the murmur of the river, the distant call of birds, and the faint rustle of reeds in the breeze. Music, when present, is subtle. Soft drums, low flutes, or gentle clapping provide a rhythm for movement or quiet accompaniment to rituals, never dominating the atmosphere. Children move with the music slowly, learning patterns of steps or gestures through imitation rather than instruction. Adults participate in ceremonies or offerings in deliberate, mindful actions, each gesture carrying meaning without haste or drama. These festivals are as much about observation and reflection as they are about celebration. Villagers notice the shifts in the sky, the subtle changes in temperature, and the gentle flow of the river. They acknowledge the cycles of planting and harvest, the enduring presence of elders, and the continuity of families over generations. Each act, each moment, reinforces the understanding that life is continuous, and that celebration is a calm recognition of this continuity rather than a rupture in daily life. By evening, the festivities wind down naturally. Lanterns glow softly along paths, casting pools of light on mud brick walls and reed fences. People return to quiet routines, meals are cleared gently, and animals are guided to rest. Children are led to their mats, often lulled to sleep by the rhythmic sounds of the river or the faint echoes of music fading into night. The festival leaves a lingering calm. Even after the music stops and the decorations are tidied, the village carries the soft memory of shared participation. Life returns to its familiar rhythm, enriched by the acknowledgement of continuity, community, and the enduring flow of the Nile. The changing light of seasons, daily reflections, and the comfort of routine along the Nile. Time along the Nile is marked as much by subtle changes in light and season as by any calendar. Villagers notice these shifts slowly, observing the way sunlight bends over the river, the hue of the sky in morning and evening, and the gentle lengthening or shortening of shadows. These quiet observations guide daily life, shaping routines, moods, and the rhythm of work and rest. In early spring, the light is soft and golden, diffused through a gentle haze. Crops begin to sprout in the fields, and children watch with fascination as shoots emerge slowly from the earth. Adults tend these seedlings with patient care, watering them, guiding small irrigation channels, and occasionally pausing to observe the slow growth. Every movement is deliberate, each gesture a quiet acknowledgement of the season's arrival. Summer light is warmer and stronger, spreading steadily across walls, rooftops, and fields. The days stretch long, and villagers adjust their routines accordingly. Work is concentrated in the cooler hours of morning and late afternoon, while midday is reserved for rest. Even this rest is meditative, a chance to observe the river's glint, the sway of palms, or the faint shimmer of insects in the sun. The world is bright, alive, yet still calm, each action harmonizing with the sun's intensity. Autumn light softens again, turning amber and honey-toned, reflecting off ripening grains and golden reeds. Harvest work unfolds gradually, with each bundle of grain tied carefully, baskets filled slowly, and paths cleared methodically. Meals are richer during this season, with freshly harvested produce shared in quiet communal gatherings. Reflection becomes a natural companion to daily activity, as villagers consider the passing year and the care they have given to both the land and each other. Winter brings pale light and cool air. Shadows lengthen, and the river appears deeper and more reflective. Villagers move more slowly, tending smaller crops, repairing homes, or crafting tools and textiles. Days are quieter, offering space for reflection and observation. Each task is performed deliberately, reinforcing the steady rhythm of life. Even small gestures, arranging a basket, brushing dust from a pathway, or folding linen, take on significance, contributing to a sense of calm and order. Throughout all seasons, routine provides comfort. Daily tasks, fetching water, preparing meals, weaving baskets, tending animals, or mending cloth, are performed in measured, mindful sequences. Each action blends seamlessly into the next, creating a rhythm that is soothing, predictable, and grounding. The river flows beside these routines, constant and unhurried, offering reassurance that life moves steadily, that the passage of time is gentle, and that all actions, no matter how small, are part of a larger, enduring pattern. Reflection is woven into these routines naturally. Villagers pause to notice the movement of birds, the shifting clouds, the gentle ripple of water, or the distant glow of lanterns. These observations are not formal or structured. They exist simply, carried in awareness and absorbed slowly, allowing the mind to soften and settle into a calm, contemplative state. Evening approaches quietly, as it always does. Light fades gradually, shadows lengthen, and the village moves into the familiar cadence of meals, chores, and the elder's presence is calming, a reminder that life is continuous and that generations are linked through shared experience, quiet observation, gentle care. Their words are a bridge between past, present, and future, carrying wisdom without pressure and comfort without demand. Continuity and the flow of the Nile. As night deepens fully, the village along the Nile becomes a world of stillness and calm. Lanterns dim, the river glimmers softly under starlight, and all movement slows to a gentle rhythm. Families are settled on mats and cushions, blankets drawn carefully over bodies, and animals lie close to their humans or in familiar spots. The soft, unbroken flow of the river continues through the night, a constant companion reflecting the moon and stars. Crickets hum quietly, frogs croak in measured intervals, and leaves rustle faintly in the gentle night breeze. All around, the world rests, cradled in the enduring patterns of life that have existed for generations. Breathing slows, hearts beat steadily, and minds drift into sleep. Children and adults alike are carried gently into dreams by the rhythms of water, wind, and shared life. Every small action, every quiet gesture, every measured routine has contributed to this sense of calm continuity. The Nile itself remains, flowing steadily, never hurried, never ceasing. It carries the reflections of the village, the memories of elders, and the dreams of children downstream, as it has for centuries and will for centuries to come. Life along its banks moves forward, gentle and unbroken, a soft reassurance that all is well, all is steady, and all is safe. So, as you close your eyes and breathe slowly, let the rhythm of this village, the flow of the river, and the soft cadence of generations guide you into rest. Let the gentle continuity of life along the Nile lull you into peaceful sleep, carrying you through the night with calm, comfort, and serenity. Preparations for rest. Breath slows, muscles relax, and minds drift naturally towards sleep, guided by the unbroken rhythm of river, land, and community. Each day closes gently, folded into the night, and each night prepares the village to rise again with the soft renewal of morning, the gentle presence of elders, storytelling, and the soft wisdom passed through generations. As the village rests beneath the moonlight, the elders, quiet keepers of memory and experience, sit slowly in their shaded courtyards or on mats near the riverbank. Their movements are measured, calm, and deliberate, each gesture a reflection of decades lived in harmony with the land and the river. They carry the gentle authority of knowing that life flows steadily, and that patience and attention shape each day as much as labor or effort. Children, already sleepy from the day's slow rhythms, gather near these elders. They settle on mats, leaning lightly against each other, or curl near their parents, listening with quiet curiosity. The elders speak softly, not in urgency, but in a measured, deliberate cadence, telling stories that drift gently through the evening air. These stories are not dramatic tales of heroism or peril. They are accounts of small, overlooked moments. A particularly abundant harvest, the slow repair of a family boat, the gentle care of an animal, or a quiet reflection on a sunrise over the river. Names of ancestors are whispered with reverence. Details of crops and floods are recalled, and lessons about patience, kindness, and observation are woven seamlessly into the narrative. Each story unfolds slowly, allowing listeners to absorb the rhythm of language, the cadence of thought, and the continuity of life. Children sometimes drift to sleep mid-story, lulled by the steady, soft tones of voices and the quiet comfort of familiarity. Adults, too, may pause, leaning back to observe the river or the night sky, letting their minds rest within the gentle flow of memory and reflect.